it's about. Tech training, oh, let's get it on. Every Thursday we'll be learning till dawn. Join the fun, don't miss out. Tech skills growing, that's what it's about. Tech training Thursdays, come join the ride. With our tech team leading, we'll take it in stride. Every week's an adventure, we're ready to thrive. Tech training Thursdays, where learning's alive.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our first Tech Training Thursdays. Today with us is our CIT and CLL from Ramirez Elementary, Denise Garcia, talking to us about how to convert Google Slides into Nearpod. Go ahead, Denise, share your screen.
All righty, let's get started. Can everybody see my screen? Yes? Nod for yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so go ahead. It's going to be an interactive presentation, so you might have to open up a tab so that you can work through this. I'm going to copy the link and put it in the chat, but you can also go to join.nearpod.com and then put this code on here, because I want you to experience the Nearpod hands-on and not just like hear me talking about it. I actually want you to go through the motions with me and all the activities that Nearpod has to offer. So I'm going to give it a couple of moments there for us to log in, and hopefully as we're logging in, we get more people in. And there we go. I have Miss Loera in right now. And then that link will stay on there so you're able to join as I am going through the presentation. So even if you go in later or you log out and log back in, that's okay. That link will get you through the entire training, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We are doing 10 ways to use Nearpod in the classroom. And like I said, I'm going to do it interactive. I want you to actually go through each activity that's being offered. I only picked 10. There are way more than 10 in Nearpod, but I picked 10 that I feel like you could use a little more in the classroom, but there are more than 10. So after this, if you like to keep exploring Nearpod, you can. So I am Denise Garcia. This is my new picture for this school year. This is my 7th year in education. I am a CLL and a CIT for Ramirez Elementary. I love learning new things and I love taking naps. I'm due for a nap right now, but it's going to be after. And my family is number one. They are my number one for everything and anything. I love them. So let's get started. That was a little bit about me. So for my agenda today, I'm going to go over what is Nearpod, then I'm going into the 10 ways to use it, and then we're going to wrap up and then some next steps for you to follow back at your campus. So what is Nearpod? So Nearpod is an interactive presentation and it's a learning tool. It makes your lessons interactive because you can add quizzes, polls, videos, and a lot more. And you'll see as this lesson goes that there's a lot of stuff that you can add. There are also already pre-made K through 12 standard aligned lessons, or you can upload your own, but those pre-made are really good because they are by TEK. So if you're looking for something specific for a TEK K through 12, it is available on the Nearpod library already for you to explore. And best of all, it's available to all of our PSJA employees from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. This is available for all teachers to use. Now we're going to start off with a short quiz or a short poll. How familiar are you with Nearpod? So this is the student view. This is what the student would see when they are in the classroom. As you can see, you'll be on student view. So I have Ms. Loera and Ms. Gonzalez. When you have it on student view, this is what you'll see. And then on teacher view, what I would see is I would see your answer, right? So you have an A, B, or C, which is the responses here. Never used, somewhat familiar, or I used it regularly. So that would be where you would see, and you could see here who has answered and who has not answered as a teacher. And then you get a percentage, which you can share at the end to your students, and it will push the responses to their screen so they can see the majority of the answers that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and click that share button so that it'll pop up in your screen if you see it. And then I can unshare that as well, and it'll take it away from your screen. And again, the student view would be this part right here. And that was one of the interactive slides that we have, or one of the activities that you can use from Nearpod. Now, the first thing about getting started with Nearpod is that PSJA already pays for your Nearpod account. So thank you for that. You can log in directly with your Google account. So you can log in, you can create your lessons on Nearpod itself, or what we've been training on this month for September is accessing it on Google Slides as part of an extension and making any of the curriculum slides that you have interactive. And I'll show a short video on how to do that, just because I know that some of the CITs created this as their training, and then some did something else. So I just want to make sure that we all kind of know how can we access it through Google, especially because we can access our curriculum, or we can jazz up our curriculum and make it more interactive than it already is. Now, a little quiz. How can I access Nearpod? So can you access Nearpod on the actual website, Google Slides, or all of the above? Again, this is what it would look like to the student. Notice how it's question 1 of 1. You can add more questions as you go, and it's the same thing. You have your teacher, your responses, and then you have here your graph that shows you how many have answered correctly and incorrectly. The other one didn't have a correct or incorrect answer. It was more like an opinion or a poll. However, this one would have a correct and incorrect answer. This one is called a quiz. So again, this is how the students would see it, and this is how the teacher would see it. Now, our interactive presentations, this is where I'm going to go into a short video that I have pre-recorded on how to do it. So this is one of the ones that I use for my CIT training, and I'll kind of fast forward on some parts, right? But I'm going to go ahead and press play on it. So this is a feature. So here we go. This is a feature that Nearpod has where you can include YouTube videos, your own videos, or videos from your drive here onto Nearpod. Now, the good thing about adding it to your Nearpod is that you can either shorten that video that you saw on YouTube to only play a specific part that you want. You can also have it where you ask questions in between the video. So you can edit the video as you need for your lesson. So it's not just you adding a tab, going into YouTube, and then showing the kids. They see everything around them, all of the related videos or ads. This would take that away. That way the students are just focused on the video that you have chosen. So you have the option of teacher plays this video and it appears only on the teacher device, like if you're sharing your screen. Or you can have it where it plays on each computer and the kids would be watching it on their computers, and then they would be doing it at their own pace. I've only used it under teacher plays only because I like having that control. I like being able to pause the video, being able to answer the questions together as a whole. But you can do it where the student is doing it all on their own for the video. So I'm going to select teacher place. So you'll see that on your end, you will not be able to see the video, or you won't be able to stop it or anything like that. It would be through my end. So I hope this thing has audio. I tried it yesterday and it did. Can you all hear?
You will need to share the audio with us. So if you go to the middle, to the top, and then it will come a drop down to share the audio.
Okay.
In the middle of your screen.
How about now?
I still don't hear anything.
I know, and I shared the sound, so I don't know if it's maybe the video. Okay, well, I can walk you through it. That's okay. But this is how the video would be. And let's say you have this right here, an exit ticket, and you want to make this exit ticket something that the students can answer on Nearpod to make it interactive instead of you having them pull out a Post-it note or pull out a notebook or anything like that. You can have them actually do it on their computer online and it submits to you through Nearpod. So you would have to go to the extensions at the top as being shown in the video. You select Nearpod, then you go ahead and get into Nearpod, open Nearpod. It will open up on the side right there. And then it will ask you to log in. Like I said, you log in through Google. So you select that, log yourself in, and it'll direct you to Nearpod, logging you in. You're there. Because I was a new user, I had to exit that out again. Or not a new user, but because I logged in again. So I had to exit that out and then go back onto extensions and click Nearpod. If you're already logged in, you won't have to do that double step. It'll automatically come out like this, where you have it there on the side. And then there's all the options that you have to choose for you to make your lesson or that slide interactive. So for mine, for this one, I chose it wasn't a draw it. Did I choose a draw it? No, it was an open-ended question. So I put the open-ended question like this. I started typing that same exact question from the slide onto here. So I copied it and I put it on here. Come on, paste. There we go. And then I allowed it for the students to either answer with sentences or answer. You can actually have them answer with voice. So it's up to you what you want them to answer. And then you would be saving it. Sorry, fast forward a little bit. You would be saving it there at the bottom where it says save, the blue button at the bottom. Click save. And then it'll load a little and there you go. Now your slide has become interactive. And then you can go through your slides that the district has, and you can go one by one and see where you can add these different activities. It might not be, you might only add one activity out of the whole slides, or maybe two. It just depends on what you need for your classroom. And once you do that, then you can go ahead and click right there at the bottom right here. It'll say save and go to Nearpod, and you would get it into your Nearpod, your library. It'll automatically take you there. It'll open a tab for you, and then you can go ahead and teach. So you'd be able to teach from that slide on Nearpod, just as I am doing so at this time. So this is great to be able to jazz up, like I said, your curriculum slides, as well as integrating it and making it interactive for the students. And then this was the activity of the video, so you can kind of see how it looks. My sound was not working, but it would look like this, and you can add questions in between when you're editing it. Now for the next one, it does allow for personalized learning and differentiation. So for example, you can provide differentiating content to specific students or groups, create modified lessons for your struggling students, or use formative assessment activities to collect personalized feedback. One way that you can differentiate is like this one that I'm about to show you. This one right here is a drag and drop. Now, there are different ways that you can do this. You would put a background of a worksheet or an exit ticket or whatever it is that you're using to formally assess your students. So for example, this one right here is find all the arrays that match the equation. 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12. So you would have your checks and your X's. Now, instead of you having to do this with your students on paper, it could be done like this virtually. And then maybe let's say that you have students that are maybe your GT students or your high performing students, and you think, okay, this is already like too easy for them to just click an X or click a check. You can modify this for them, and then you can, instead of putting checks and X's, you yourself can put here like the actual give me the multiplication array here. What array is being shown in each one? So you have some students checking for one array, and then you have other students that would be writing all the arrays. So it just depends on, right, where your students are at and what's the end goal that you have in mind. You see this, and you can show the students, right, how to drag it, delete it if you don't want it there, and then they can independently do this or in groups, and you as a teacher can see when a student is answering, and then you can see where they're moving, what they've done, have they answered correctly. And this is a quick check for you to go into, like you're walking around, right? You're in the power zone and you're going to each different desk and you're like, hey, papito, ay, this one, look, let's try this, let's move this one this way, let's count them together. So you're quickly checking to see what it is that the students are understanding and not understanding. So this is a drag and drop for you. This one was just a check or an X. And you also have available for you to also draw on this. So this one is called the drag and drop. All right, this one is my favorite one. Building background with Nearpod, field trips VR. So I have a lot of students that did not or could not build background with a lot of our reading stories and a lot of stuff that we were doing because they had never experienced it. I had some students that had never left the valley, had never been to the beach, had never visited a zoo. So that limits their understanding of a story. They can't put themselves in the shoes of the characters. So they're kind of just like, ugh, I don't know what you're talking about, or they lose interest in it. The Filter VR is a great tool for your students to dive into the book and try to like put themselves in the shoes of what's going on. And a lot of these places that they have in VR, they're places that, wow, like I like it's amazing to see. So we're gonna go through a VR together. In fourth grade, there's a story about a fossil Marianne. It is a biography, and a lot of students could not relate because had never seen a fossil. They had never gone to a museum. So I love to let them play for a good 2-3 minutes, and you should just hear their conversations like, wow. And you can have them do it at the beginning of your story and at the end of the story to make those connections. So this is just great for your students to be able to build their background as they're reading. And there's a lot of places. And I know the district provides like some videos or pictures, but just seeing it like this, like if you're actually there, makes a whole lot of a difference. So if you want to change up your media piece for the week and you want to add a VR, do it, it's for your students, so you can. So on your end, you're able to also move this around like I am. And it's my favorite one. I love it because there's stuff that I'm like, I had never seen this before, and it's just great. So I'm going to go ahead and move on from this one. This is the funnest one. Well, not really. There's another one. All right. So real-time formative assessment. Now, most of these, like the one that you saw, the drag and drop or the poll or the quizzes or any of those, they could be used for real-time formative assessments to check the understanding of the students because you get real-time responses and you can adjust your instruction on the spot. You see that somebody's not answering correctly, or you see that, hey, you know what? Pretty much all my class answered this question incorrectly. They have the wrong idea what is that we're doing. So you automatically fix your instruction and it's immediate insights on your student comprehension. So this is another one, right? Just like the one that we did. So far, how's Nearpod sounding to you? I can't wait to use it. I'm not convinced yet. It sounds interesting. I'm there, but I'm still not convinced. So just a quick answer. You can add images on here. You can change your font. You can change the color of your font. And then the teacher would be able to see just the different answers here. This is another one that is not a quiz because it's not giving you a right or wrong answer. This one is like an opinion. It's a poll where the students just answer and you get insight back, but they won't see like, oh, an incorrect answer or a correct answer. So there's different kinds. One that you would be able to see like right and wrong, or one that you're just getting opinions from, or to see where the student is at without it counting it wrong against them. And you can see every single student and what they answered. And another thing that I didn't add on my slides, but everything that is done can be downloaded as like a grading, like to see did the student get it correctly or not, or what they answered. So at the end of your teaching, if you want to go back and look at what it is that they had, you can, and it shows you everything that they have answered for the entire lesson. So that's a good thing as well, because you can see like just who answered, who didn't, what did they answer, and you can also reflect on that. The next one is your interactive activities and gamification. So there was a big, I think, boost on Book It. I don't know if you ever played it, but it was questioning with games involved. So Nearpod also has that, and you don't have to open another tab, go to Book It, put a new code, create a whole new lesson or a whole new game. You can do it within Nearpod, within your lesson. There's no need to you having to go back and forth. You can already implement it in here. It makes the learning fun. It makes it engaging. And this one, the one that we're about to do, Time to Climb, is a gamified quiz experience. So it does have like right and wrong answers. And then they're playing a little game to see who gets to the mountain or whatever it is the fastest. So I do have an interactive activity, an interactive game that we can play quickly. And this is the one that the kids love as well, because they're able to see, themselves, um, winning and playing a game. They like that. So you have different backgrounds or different places that you can go into. We're going to go with sports. Randomize the answers, pause game between question for discussion, and play sound on all student devices. I'm going to take off your sound just so it doesn't bother you. And I'm going to pause in between so you can kind of see how it looks. Kind of like, what's the other one that has games like this? Oh my goodness, I totally, Quizzes. Quizzes also has games like this. All right, so we're waiting for players to connect. You would automatically be right connected in the game on your screen because you're going through the lesson. Again, no need for you to open a tab, put a new code, none of that. So you just have to kind of accept. I have 2 players connected. I'll wait a good 30 more seconds. Yay. All right, and let's start the game. There are multiplication questions that I created. So hopefully you're able to get them right. And if you want to get it wrong to see what it looks like on the student end, you can. So try that out. All right. Now, the only thing that I saw that was like, oh, I wish they didn't have that, is that for the game on your end, you don't have like a student view and a teacher view. So you'll see it like this. Like if you're projecting your screen, the kids will be able to see like who's answering the most A, the most B, and the most C, and as well as the student's name on the side. So for that, what I always did is I always had a tab open that just had the like the logo. I put like Time to Climb, and then I opened the picture up big so that way they wouldn't see until everybody has answered, then I go back to the other tab. But that's just an accommodation that I made because I didn't like that the kids were able to see the answers in real time as everyone's clicking. But if you don't mind that, then you don't have to open another tab. But that's how it looks. So let's move on to the next question. So you see how it like moves it. So it'll move it as people are answering. And because I put the pause at the beginning, it does show you, it does allow you to pause, like it automatically pauses. If not, it would be continuous. And the next question would go without you pausing. So this is one of them right here. All right, and you can see here the same thing, the answers, and that was the last one. And then on your end, I believe you see like your little monito like going up and to see going climbing up the mountain. All right, so then we have our leaders here. Awesome. And then that's it. That was the end of that game. But again, I don't have to leave the session. I don't have to move anywhere. All I do is keep going with my slides and click the next button, and then we move on. So that's awesome because it's already integrated there and you can add it. And how you can add it, all of these that I'm showing you is that same way that I said where you go into your Google Slides and you click that extension in Nearpod and just click the time to climb. And right then and there you can add your questions. So there's no need for you to jump back and forth or anything. There on the slides, you do all of them and then you move it into your Nearpod. One of the things that they have here, another activity, is called Draw It. So this is like if you have a worksheet, an activity, and the kids, if you have an iPad, even better, the kids can write on it instead of you having to pass out papers. They're holding the pencil. They already chewed on the crayon, right? So you have it where it's virtual. You're able to model concepts for students, so you're able to draw as well before. You can share the drawings of other students to their screen so they can see what others are doing. And excuse me, it encourages for students to participate because if you keep sharing those good examples, they're like, oh, share mine next, share mine, right? They want to see what other students are doing. So this is, I did something more for the lower grades, like a shape review. So color the shape, trace the shape, draw the shape. Now, this is where you could model first. How are we coloring the shape? Maybe using a highlighter instead of a crayon for this one. And then you have them, right? Coloring the shape. I have a mouse, so it's not that great. And then trace the shape. Maybe that's when you use the pencil. You show them. And then draw the shape. I think it would work best with if you have your touchscreen Chromebooks, right? Use a little pen or use your finger or the iPads as well. And then as a teacher, I can see, perfect, I can see exactly what you all are drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say I'm going to share one. And I want to share this one. I can give you feedback on what you're doing, or I can add a grade, or I can share with the class. I'm going to click share with the class, and you'll see on your device how it's going to push it through. So right here, students' work. So you should be able to see right now Miss Garza's work that she's doing. And then you can unshare. Let me show you an example of somebody that's doing it so you can kind of get an idea. And then, okay, now you can go back to work and you can continue working. I can click go back and then see everybody on here. And then back to me, the student, right? And then here. And you do, I saw Miss Pinkle, you do have shapes. So if you wanted to, you can show them how to use the shape like this. And there's your shape, right, for your circle. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the Draw It because it's basically them writing on a paper, right? It's like if you had a paper, but you're minimizing the need of a paper. And then the next one is facilitating open-ended tasks. This is where it's also a formative assessment that you can do. And it's for, you can do deeper creative responses because you're able to either type or you're able to speak, which is great here because what I relate this back to is our TELPUS. Because we got to get our students used to recording themselves, and some of them are very shy. And I know we used to use Flipgrid, but that's no more. But Nearpod has it. So even if you wanted to pose a question and maybe go to TELPUS, get your release test, look for a sample question, put it into a Nearpod, and then have the students respond during your TELPUS block, that would change tremendously because you're able to see their recording, you're able to give them feedback, and you're able to save all of that. So you can save those responses for you to review them and grade them later. And it can also encourage your discussion and critical thinking for you to share other students, what they're writing or what they're speaking. So I gave you an open-ended task, and I did give it so that you could either speak or write on it. So if you want to try the speaking one, try it on your end. How could you use open-ended questions to promote creativity and critical thinking in your classroom? Because having something open-ended is very, it's an eye-opener for you, I feel, as a teacher, seeing what they can respond. Because A, B, C, D, I think students can guess or they can just click whatever. But when you give an open-ended response, a lot, when we first started doing, I remember like the race, students would uh, like what do you want me to write? Like I don't know what you're telling me to do. Where's the ABCD, right? And we've moved past that. So it's important that if you're doing a think pair share, if you have anything, that they are open-ended and you can do it like this, where you have the students actually writing something. So as a teacher, you have, see your no answer, you have here a voice and you can hear it right here. Do you mind if I share yours, Valentin? No, I'm gonna share.
It allows the students to
I don't know what you're
think
telling me to do. Where's the
and
ABCD,
not just
right?
stay
And we
inside of
moved
a one
past that.
answer
So it's
response.
important that if you're doing a think pair share, if you have anything. Yeah, so I can see that, right? I can see that and I can automatically like grade it. I can go back to it. So having those recordings are great, right? You can see this and you can share it. You cannot share the audio to the students, but you can share the written responses. So any of these you can share to the students. So let's talk about this response, guys. Let's say you're doing a race. What is it missing? I see that they restated, they answered, but they're missing their evidence. Let's see, what can we add to them? So that's also cool that you can use that in the upper grades for your race. I'm going to go ahead and press next. I don't know who is writing their last ideas. All right. Oh my God, I talked really fast. I'm sorry. So we got to 10 different ways to use your Nearpod and 10 different activities. So a little recap. What is it that Nearpod's doing? You're creating interactive lessons. You can create formative assessments, games, and a lot more. My my suggestion is to continue exploring it and experimenting with it. That's the only way that you're going to be able to learn more about it. And I know we're going to have more sessions throughout the school year about this. I know last year there was a really good one. I think Valentin shared it with us with pre-K 3 and pre-K 4. And they were able to use Nearpod because it was like an open-ended, and they put a picture of the letter like B. And then the question was like, say the sound of the letter, right? And the kids just had to press record and they were able to record as a formative assessment or as a center, as a practice. So there's a lot of ways that you can use this in your classroom. Just play around with it. Now, the last one that I'm going to share, the last activity, is one that I used for making predictions. I loved being able to see everybody's answers. This is called a collaborative board. So for our next steps, we're going to do a collaborative board. There are 2 questions for you to answer on this collaborative board. So you can select, oh no, this is not the one I wanted. Hold on. What? This is not mine. Boom. Well, the one that I had, it had a question, and so I'm going to go ahead and just ask you the question. The question was, how is it that you can use Nearpod in your classroom? What are some ways that you saw from Nearpod that you could implement in your classroom, like, soon? Not something that you can implement in a year, but something that you can quickly change that you can use Nearpod on in your classroom. Go ahead and share your thoughts on the collaborative board. Now you do have an option in the collaborative board to put different questions, and then you have columns going down. So let's say you have 3 questions, you can have them answer from your favorite question, which one is your favorite question, answer from there. Or you're going to answer question 1, question 2, question 3. This could also work as a jigsaw where you have 4 different, let's say, vocabulary words. You become expert groups in your vocabulary words. Now put it on the collaborative board, and then everybody can read what you have, right? So I have to approve. You can show the pending, and you can see if you want to see first what your kids are writing, and then you can accept it. You can. I would say this for the upper grades because some kids like to be funny. So I would have it like that where I'm like, okay, yes, you can go in the collaborative board. Yes, you can go in the collaborative board. And if not, like, oh, no, try again. Try again. Right. So the collaborative board is one that I really, really enjoyed because it's like if you're talking with the students or they're talking together, but they're putting it down into writing. So this another idea for this, I'm like brainstorming. This can also be done with the think, pair, share. So you think, you write, you pair, you share, or you can think, pair, write on the collaborative board, and then we share out, right? And you can like here, there's an option for you to comment as well if you'd like to open up to the comments. So these are your student options. See, students can see names, students can edit, students approve student post. So you can change it there. And what I love about Nearpod, because I'm going into the ending, but what I love about Nearpod is that it's all in one. I know there's a lot of resources that may do all these things, but they're not all together in one platform. At Nearpod, you're able to just have it flow into your lesson. And let's say you stopped mid-lesson, you are able to like pause, and the next day it'll save that same code that you had right here, this one, and you're able to restart it again. So anybody want to unmute themselves and share what they wrote in the collaborative piece here? Don't be shy.
Well, for instance, in my case, last year I would use it a lot, like with time to climb, and I would use it with addition, subtraction, just number recognition, and I would see the kids would ask me every day for more, like we want to play it, we want to play it, and I could just see their skills getting like quicker, like more automaticity in them. So I feel that really helped a lot with them like enjoying actually the class and math time.
Yeah, you gamify their experience. I mean, nobody wants just a worksheet that says 3 plus 5. What is it? What is it, right? If you put it to me in a game, hey, I want to keep learning. I want to keep doing it. So that's awesome, Ms. Gonzalez, that you had that experience with it. And I hope that you keep using your Nearpod. And then if you have any questions, you can Teams me, you can email me. And I hope that you do use Nearpod and you switch up or you jazz up your curriculum lessons that you already have, or you create new ones. Explore Nearpod with Google and explore Nearpod on its own to see those already pre-made lessons by TEKS. I know we have a pre-K teacher here, right? You have your standards, but there's some that you can use, like I said, them recording themselves in their voice. It's just a matter of experimenting with it and exploring. I'm going to go ahead and stop
Amazing.